All right. So we are live. So we missed last week. We were supposed to go live last week, but it just didn't happen. And sorry about that, but we're back again. I'm Ed Smathers, founder of Dig the Falls. We've been around for, 15 years now, 2005. We do trail building. We've got a great waterfall database, but we're really branching out into the trail building, and it really kind of interfaces with who we have on with us tonight. John Johansson. He is the founder of the Narrows, Cascades and Heritage Trail. We also have Stash Russin on with us tonight as well, kind of joining in to the conversation. So, John, you want to kind of give us, kind of a short rundown of the Narrows and yourself and how you got it started?
Yeah, sure. So I'm John Johansson. I live in Troy, New York, just outside of Albany, mid-state, or I guess, they call it upstate if you're in the city, but for us, it feels more mid-state, But yeah, I mean, the Narrows, I guess about 10 years ago, started to take shape, at least in my mind. It took many years to start to bring it to the ground, but it's basically a 4-mile ring trail that starts in South Troy at the 378 bridge and loops up through the kind of stream valleys and parks of Troy all the way to downtown. So we've been working on it as part of a larger partnership for about 5 years, something like that, raising funds and on a volunteer basis, trailblazing and kind of getting the trail network set up. Currently, we're a partnership between the City of Troy, Dig the Falls, the Rensselaer Land Trust, the Post-Contemporary, the Mount Ida Preservation Association. There's a bunch of organizations that are kind of working together, to make this happen in various areas. So I don't know if there's a way to throw photos up. It'd be lovely to see. But actually, if anybody is interested, on the website, narrowstroy.org, it's kind of scrolling across the bottom. There's a bunch of photos, of the landscape there. It's gorgeous. As you're moving through the trail, you're passing by a lot of industrial history, Native American history. There's a series of gorgeous waterfalls through 2 river gorges, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, people, actually, even people from Troy that have been in the city for many years haven't really heard of these places, and when they go down, it's kind of like minds are blown, that there's such gorgeous kind of like natural scenery right within the city. It's a very strange experience to be at a Stewart's or something and walk 5 minutes down into the woods, and all of a sudden you're at the bottom of this 25-foot waterfall, this gorgeous scene. So but I think that's all the major points. The only other thing I'd throw in is, at the moment, we've fundraised for various things, but a lot of the trails are going in on a volunteer basis. So I think throughout this season, every second Saturday, we're going to be doing work days. So, we really encourage people to come out. We have really fun days starting about 9 a.m. and, just helping us to blaze the trail and maintain the trail as we work further. The last thing I'd say, I think, is, the first phase of the trail is open from the Bird Preserve up to the intersection of Project and Campbell. So it's about a 1.5 miles worth of beautiful trail that's currently open. It's marked and, ready to visit currently. Hopefully this summer we'll be opening up another large stretch of trail. So,
absolutely.
But anyways, thanks for having me, Ed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I've been pretty happy with being part of the project for the last couple of years as well. It's been fantastic. And actually, I am noticing that there's a little bit of static. So as far as like from your earbuds, I'm not sure. Maybe So I just want to give you a heads up on that. But I think anybody that wants to join in on the second Saturdays, I think it's important to say that it's for everyone. It's not just for experienced people. We have kids join in. I've got our 3 and 5 year olds on the trails with us sometimes, and we clean up trash on the trails. We actually blaze trail. Not last year because of COVID, but the year prior we had opened up. I believe it was at least a 1/4 mile of brand new trail, never been blazed. Going up Mill Street, past at least 2 of the major waterfalls that start the trail system, which is absolutely amazing. So, I appreciate you letting us kind of jump in and help out with all the trailblazing. It's been phenomenal. I'm gonna have Stash, if you want to kind of give yourself a quick introduction, because I want to get you in on the conversation as well.
Yeah, Sash Russin, I've been with Dig the Falls for a decent amount of time. I keep forgetting how many years. Was it 2009 or something?
I believe so.
It was a
9 or
while
10,
ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Ed and I have been working together for a while and stuff. Ed's taken most of actually probably all of the load, but
No.
I am also member of Search and Rescue Club, Search and Rescue down in Catskill Mountains. Second vice president of the 3500 Club, volunteer for New Jersey Search and New Jersey Trail Conference. I've helped out at the Cascades and the Narrows. Amazing, beautiful place. I can't wait for everything to be done. And I'm a very avid hiker. I didn't get out today though. I had a lot of crap to do, but but yeah, that's me.
Okay. I need to check on my dog because he's being really loud, and he has seizures, so I have to make sure that he's okay.
Aww.
So yeah, so I'll be right back. But if you guys want to talk about, actually, I'm interested in kind of the work that we finished up in this last say in October, I believe it was.
Yeah.
We had a really, really great trail session then, and it'd be nice to kind of hear what we're going to be doing with that portion.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I can throw in there. And Stash, how's my audio? I pulled it into my speakerphone. Hopefully that's better than my headset there. Does it sound okay?
Yeah, you're perfect.
Great. Yeah, actually, one thing, Ed, real quick, that I wanted to throw in there, so my background's kind of like land management, architecture, design, and so forth. So, throughout the whole beginning of the Narrows, a lot of the work was kind of fundraising, office kind of stuff. And I just wanted to throw like a big compliment your way. I mean, it was really when you and John got involved and Dig the Falls got involved. And you guys really brought that kind of, a lot of, kind of muscle and excitement on the ground for these volunteer days. And, that's just been such an incredible thing for the project. And I really tons of credit goes your way for making this happen,
Well,
and continuing to.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think, it's really easy to kind of get amped up when you've got John kind of sitting in your corner, kind of giving all the ideas and, coming up with plans and stuff. So a lot of credit, goes out his way as well. And we've had some, I can't believe the volunteers and the amount of effort that's gone into these trails and the cleanups, and just, always smiling faces. And it, even when we did the Earth Day cleanup a couple weekends back, it was really phenomenal. Just the amount of work that we got done with, what do we have there? Maybe 15, 20 people.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. And within a couple hours, we had cleaned up like half a dozen big bags of garbage. It was really amazing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Last year was obviously pretty weird with COVID. We really only did very small inside, work days with people that we really knew. So there were maybe 5 of us at a time for small stretches. But yeah, I think our last, the year before, by the time we had our last workday going, I think we had probably 35 people there. We had a whole troop of Boy Scouts, and it was quite a scene. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how we can grow that this season.
Yeah. But shout out to the local Boy Scouts, actually. Which troop, do you remember the troop number?
I don't. Carl would know. I wish Carl was here.
He would. He memorizes all of that stuff. But the local troop out of Troy was like, the effort they put in, it was really amazing, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So big shout out to them. I think that was probably one of the last big ones that we had. But even last year, the couple of short volunteers days that we had put together, we were actually able to put together some long lengths of trail, to tell you the truth. Dropping some trees, getting some trees out of the way, raking it out, marking it, everything is really phenomenal.
Yeah. You'd asked, do you want me to talk about the stretch of trail that we did last October?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because it's incredible watching our skills build too.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting the teamwork dynamics really like
Yeah.
tuning in. But yeah, so we for folks that aren't familiar, in South Troy, there was an existing kind of preserve called the Burden Preserve. And there were some sort of ad hoc trails in there, a lot of which were going through wetlands and kind of in strange areas and so forth. So we've basically, over the last year and a half, really reconfigured that and about doubled the length of trail all the way up to again, the intersection of Project and Campbell there. So we'd actually, the year prior, we'd gotten to about maybe 400 yards from the end there.
Right.
With
Yeah.
COVID dropping us down, we basically rallied last fall and opened the last stretch of tail to bring it up to that intersection. So,
yeah, I think it actually added a unique opportunity to kind of give us a chance to rethink how the trail was going to be structured. Because originally we were going to just send it straight across where it always had been through that kind of wetland area. And during the wetter parts of the year, it's, if you have anything short of, galoshes on, your feet are wet. There's no way around it. So, I think that was kind of nice to actually bring it up and around the rim of that bowl or the basin there. And, that really fleshed out really nice last year for sure.
Yeah. And, for what it's worth, I cross country skied probably a half dozen times through that stretch, and it's really fun cross country skiing too.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you touched on an interesting thing that, and actually, Stash, I want to kind of get your opinion on this, but there's a lot of four-wheelers that kind of use the trail systems down through that preserve, and they've been kind of undoing some of the work that we've done, and they're also going around some of the trail systems and creating their own trail systems along with it. So when you go into the preserve, there are really nice yellow trail markers, so you can follow the trail. And that was weird. So you can follow the trail and everything, but if you veer off on any of the side trails that are unmarked, it actually is pretty, like it turns into a spaghetti mess of trail systems through there. And Stash, maybe you can talk about this, but we've been trying to kind of minimize the impact of the four-wheelers, or try to get them off the paths completely, or to choose very specific paths. And it seems like anytime we put something in place, they either go around it or they remove that obstacle. And it's really kind of a weird dynamic.
Yeah. It's a lot you really can't do because, it stinks with it's kind of like they have the upper power with the four-wheeler. So like you try to stop them and they could overrun you or something like that.
Right.
So I mean, that's really left up to the officials.
Yeah.
It's like they have that, they have some places like that in the Catskills too, where, I mean, four-wheelers are prohibited in the Catskills. They do have ski or snowmobile trails.
Okay. Right.
Anybody on a four-wheeler will be like fined, and then their four-wheeler will be confiscated and not have to pay a fine.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's all left up to the DEC because, of course, it's Catskill Park. It's owned by New York State. So,
right.
And a lot of people they're good with that, with turning them in and stuff like that. Telling them where they're at. And for me, hiking the Catskills this whole time, I've never seen a four-wheeler.
Nice.
Except right out on the edge of the Catskills, right more towards the west, and that's where the snowmobile trails and the ski and like the cross-country skiing trails merge and stuff, and four-wheelers just do whatever they want.
So what would you attribute the success of keeping the four-wheelers away from those areas with?
Snitching.
So basically
no, it sounds bad, but like just keep feeding them information, what the four-wheelers look like, where they're entering, how, where they're leaving. A lot of that helps the DEC and the rangers, or even the troopers and stuff like that, like catch them.
Okay.
Most likely. And the same thing happens down in New Jersey when we went down there for a SAR drill. It's along where we did was along power lines and stuff like that. And there was massive amounts of four-wheelers all over the place. There was a group of like 15 people, and we had a forest ranger with us in our task. And they're like, they got the numbers. You can't really do anything. He's like, just let them go.
Yeah.
Don't do anything, of course. And that's what happened. But then later on, he's just like, he called it in. I guess like 4 or 5 of the trucks came up and kind of like cornered them, and it was just like, you guys, we're going to give you tickets to get out of here. But,
Interesting.
It stinks because they're usually powered by numbers, and that's
right.
4 forest rangers on foot cannot overtake a four-wheeler at all.
No. And it does make sense because they've been doing it for so long. There is a sense of, well, how is it fair to kick us out of here when we've been doing this all along? So, in this case anyway, in the Catskills, it's a little bit different, but in the Burden Pond area, and John, you could probably talk to this a little bit more, but in my assessment of the situation is they've been doing it for years, and they really haven't been cracked down on. So to really crack down on it now without giving at least enough forewarning might actually kind of make it go the other way.
Yeah, it's been a complicated situation. I think the one thing that's hard is I don't know where the appropriate place to four-wheeler is other than private property. I don't know if there are any state like authorized areas that are kind of in a habitat that's amenable to four-wheeling and more flat terrain, maybe with like better drained soils. So it's a little sad to say, okay, you can't do that here, but not have some kind of alternative, so it might be something to look into. But we have always had four-wheelers kind of through the area. I think prior to the Narrows project, there had been very little use kind of in these areas in terms of like people investing in it, people interested in the recreational uses, as a trail or something more formal like that. So, the four-wheels had, been very active in these areas. I mean, in some ways, they'd also helped keep some of the trails open. There's sometimes some maybe silver lining there. But I think the biggest problem that we see is the erosion.
Right.
Currently, and as the trail becomes more and more used as a hiking trail, the kind of safety concerns are the two, major issues we see. There are some areas that we've literally seen maybe 4 feet of erosion. It's quite extreme.
Wow.
I don't know, Ed, if you that one peak that you come up and go down towards the spot where they've been rolling over this hill, and it's literally eroded down probably 4 feet.
Yeah.
So it's pretty extreme. It's quite unfortunate in that way. But we've just been slowly, establishing where the hiking trails are. Trying to limit, especially people coming in from out of town, interestingly, and what we call like early COVID, spring of last year, we had a lot of people actually coming in from out of town, in trucks, like dropping off, groups of like 8 to 10 ATVers and rolling around.
Wow.
We talked to a number of those parties, because, if you live in the neighborhood, it's one thing, but if you're coming in from out of town, those numbers, the trails just aren't capable of
right. Yeah, it's not sustainable at all.
We started to sort of, pinch down and control a little more the access points that they're using, and talk to the police and make sure people are watching out for that kind of thing, because we can't, that would be catastrophic. These big groups are really tearing around, and we did see quite a bit of specifically heightened erosion, I would say, specifically because of that. That particular thing. But they've it's too bad Joe's not on the call. We have one of our partners is the Rensselaer Land Trust, and they have a preserve just a little further up. That's actually one of the targets for phase 1 of the Narrows to reach there. But they had a similar issue, and over time, they've been able to kind of redirect and reroute the ATV traffic off of the preserve there. So I think it'll just take some care and some just like a long-term perspective. I think it's not going to get solved in a year.
Yeah,
it's crazy looking at the map and seeing like this is like right in the city, yet there's four-wheelers in this little tiny parts. It's really crazy.
Yeah, it's like it's a can of worms in there with all the little trail systems they have across that entire place. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So you bring up a good point, John. So you had the Stoutsman Preserve. So the trail system, essentially what the future plans is to somehow have signage or something that's posted from the Mohawk Hudson bike path that can kind of direct people across is it 378 bridge, right?
Yep, 378.
Yes,
yep.
Goes across the 378 bridge and then over to Mill Street, where they can actually start the actual Narrows trail system. And then and it goes up the hill to Burden, and then you can either choose from there to go over to the Stellisman, which has, a dozen miles worth of trails or whatever. It's an absolutely amazing area.
Yeah.
Even just this short walk that we took a couple months back, it's just a fantastic area. And then your plan was to go from Burden Pond and up and around over to the Post and Kill Gorge, correct?
Yep. Yeah, it would go down the side of Spring Street through the woods, past the natural spring there, then up into the Post and Kill Gorge Park there, across and over, eventually into Prospect Park and down into downtown Troy.
Nice.
So that's part of phase 2. Those stretches of trail aren't open yet, but for those interested, you can approximate the loop currently. If you're in downtown Troy, if you take the 85 or the 224, I think are the bus lines, you get off around the intersection of, I believe it's Mill and Burden Ave is, I think, what it's called at that point, but it's basically where that big mural of the water wheel is.
Yep.
You can basically walk, about 2.5 miles up from there through the Narrows, up to the corner of Campbell and Project. And then if you get up and then go back down Spring Street, you can walk along a very pleasant sort of like road down there into downtown Troy now. So you can do a really nice loop from downtown Troy or vice versa currently. Phase 2 is going to involve taking the trail off of Spring Street there and then dropping it up into the Post and Kill Gorge and Prospect Park areas. So
yeah, and it's actually kind of amazing that so few know about the Post and Kill Gorge and the Mount Ida Falls. And for anybody that visits it for the first time, right now is like the perfect timing because you don't have a lot of the foliage blocking the view to the falls, and the falls are just a very unique, very amazing, like large set of falls. A lot of the RPI students obviously know it very well. Some of them get to know it very intimately. Because they're rescued from the walls. It's really kind of just an amazing area just by itself. And then when you include some of the history and the factories that kind of line those creeks, it's really pretty amazing.
Totally. Yeah. So, our friends over at the Mount Ida Preservation Association, they're starting to do a lot of work over there in the Post and Kill Gorge Park too, to kind of maintain that and start to really get that to shine as well. And for what it's worth on the history, again, pointing everyone to the narrowstroy.org website at the bottom there, we have a whole section on the history. The various parts of, the industrial kind of Western history. And I'm actually in process trying to add a lot of the Native American history to that too. So you get a really
nice
broad cross-section of an understanding, different understandings of the land. But yeah, the kind of, the amount of history that's happened kind of along this trail is quite extreme.
Yeah,
I won't go into it right now. It's kind of a rabbit hole.
And if Joe were on too, he could definitely, take us all the way to the end of the rabbit hole too. So, the one thing I did want to bring up is I didn't want to leave this out because it's kind of important to the history, the recent history of Burden Pond Preserve. But there was a local that used to actually create like volunteer groups and take care of the Burden Pond Preserve in general. And they actually have a rock that's commemorating her work at the preserve itself. And if you have enough of the history of I believe it's Christine was her name.
Yeah, she went by Chris.
Chris, okay.
She was lovely. I actually knew her before she died.
Nice. Wow. And she used to put together, like there's still flowers of hers that are still there, and we're actually uncovering a lot of the flowering bushes that she put in place, and she had fruit trees that she actually planted, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had a, they knew how to do it. I wish she was still around. She was something. She used to, she cut hair just around the corner at the,
Oh,
I forget, not the barber shop. I'm spacing, the salon there.
yeah.
But when I first moved to town and met her, she would, like, every few weeks she'd bring me these, like, big Italian dinners. Just this really nice way of saying, like,
Wow.
welcome to the neighborhood. And
Nice.
she was just she was a lovely presence. And yeah, every especially on Earth Day, I think maybe twice a year, they would run these big banging neighborhood cleanup days for the bird and preserve, and
Yeah.
they were wild. They would actually, we're seeing now a lot of the ailanthus and some of the invasive species in there, but every spring they would actually do a controlled burn. They would burn the whole thing down, and then come in and replant. And they had a guy that lives up the street was a DJ, so he would bring in a big set of speakers, and there'd be like hot dogs and stuff. And they really knew how to party.
Wow. Jeez, we need to take some tips from them.
Yeah, she really held that together. So when she passed away, and she was in the last few years, she had a little bit of a running with the city where there was something happened between her and the city too, where she was getting a little, she had been frustrated with the city, and I think toned the work days down a little bit before she passed. But she was amazing.
Yeah. That's awesome that she did that for so many years, apparently. And it's really great that, they've got that rock put in place, and, commemorating her. It's a nice plaque on there and everything. So, and it what I find equally amazing is the fact that the city of Troy has taken a really big step in assisting us in getting materials, taking out trash, you name it. They've taken some of the what's that robot that they brought down to mow this hillside, whatever that thing was.
I forget the name of it. Yeah. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, like remote control, like, yeah, it's pretty cool. But they've been really great as far as setting aside resources to make sure that at least we're getting the trash taken care of, that we're getting it, that we're finding in there. So that's really nice. And I'm hoping, actually, Stosh, you missed this in the beginning, but we're going to start the second Saturdays up again. We kind of missed it last year, but we're going to try and do it again this year. So 9:00, it's a little far for you to travel by 9:00, but 9:00 Saturday, every Saturday, second Saturday morning of each month.
Okay.
And it's just something easy for everyone to kind of remember, and kind of pop in their calendars. We're actually going to do that. We're going to pop it into our event calendar on Facebook and on the website itself. So
nice.
Yeah. But is there Stash, is there anything that you feel we missed, or you want to know about the project?
No, I think it's really amazing what you're doing for the city, because there's I have a friend that lives out that way, and she's like trying to explore a lot out there, and it's limited. There's she likes People's Islands, and it's another place that she goes to a lot, that where the eagles are, and they're just absolutely phenomenal bald eagles all over the place. And so I actually just sent her to this, and I was just like, I forgot that they were doing this like 2 years ago. I helped out. God, I forgot what was that guy's name, Ed, that I helped with the freaking chainsaw?
Oh, was that the younger kid?
No, he was an older guy.
Oh, might have been Jack?
No, Joe.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, so we went up into the parts where there was like bamboo stuff. It almost like bamboo stuff.
Yeah.
And he's just like, have at it. He like gave me a chainsaw, and he had a chainsaw, and I was like doing my widing. I'm used to in the Catskills, you're only supposed to keep it yay amount of wide, and I'm charging through, and he's like, whoa, he yells at me. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, cutting, and he's just like, you gotta cut at least 2-3 more feet. And I'm just like, that's not how I was taught. And he's like, no, he's like, families are gonna be walking through here. I'm like, very good point. Yeah, he was a great time. We had that's when we like hauled out like 4 tires, and I forgot what else. I had a good picture of everybody hauling out stuff, but I was over. I don't even know where it was. I'm trying to think. I was near one of the right near the roads, and it was just thick as heck.
Oh yeah, that's a Japanese knotweed. That's
Yeah.
just horrible. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep, you're
absolutely horrible.
right. And we just tore through that, and there was like at least, I would say, 300 feet of that thick stuff, and he's just
Yep.
like, "Have at it." And I was like, "All right." Done.
Yeah, Joe Durkin, Rensselaer Land Trust. He is like a powerhouse as far as like energy goes. You know, it's pretty amazing to see him out on the trail. You know, seeing the damage he does, it's awesome. So.
Yeah, that Potent Skilled Gorge is absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait for that all to come together. And Mount Ida is just amazing. The Burden Pond is beautiful. Everything, like when it's lined up and it's going to be done, is going to be absolutely phenomenal for the city of Albany and the city of Troy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be very amazing, very beautiful, and hopefully people will learn leave no trace and stuff, and you know, follow the rules and get to realize how beautiful that area is, and to keep it like that.
Absolutely. And it will be amazing because, you know, people don't realize, but I mean, from Cohoes or Albany, it's almost equal distance on the Mohawk Hudson bike trail. And you hit that and shoot over, you know, the bridge, you're right there. It's really amazing. So,
yeah, actually, and a couple of plugs. I'm not sure if you saw this, but the city just got, I think, awarded $400,000 or $500,000 to cross from the bike trail over into downtown Troy too. So,
wow, nice.
If you're coming from Cohoes, now you could come to it from that end too.
Beautiful.
It's great. And you know, actually, and one other quick plug. Actually, Stashin, you mentioned tires. Ed, I've been meaning to tell you, actually, it might be a good plug, but the city of Troy has really been upping its game in terms of its kind of recycling, waste management programs and so forth. And
nice.
On May 8th, they're actually taking tires for free at the, I forget the term, it's the solid waste place here in South Troy.
Nice.
If we've got tires to dispose of, May 8th would be a really good day to do it.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's. I mean, we've rolled up on Burden Pond before and seen, you know, whole sets of tires just sitting there on the property. So you know, so anybody that's got them in the back of the garage, now's the time to get them out and just you know, get rid of them. It's free. So absolutely. So
please dispose of tires properly and don't roll them into the
yes, please. Yeah, that and batteries. Car batteries are not good for the environment. So, John, I don't know if there's anything else you kind of want to add to the mix before we.
I hope you have a headlamp.
Yeah,
seriously. I know I'm moving my light here. Hopefully you guys can see me. No,
yeah, we can.
I really appreciate Ed you inviting us, or me rather, but us as a project. No, I'd say keep an eye out for the second Saturdays. You know, and check out photos. I think, you know, talking about the trail in abstract is one thing, but when you see the photos of these waterfalls and the kind of pristine kind of beauty of this trail, it's really really something to behold. And just another reminder, at the moment it's pretty much all being done on a volunteer basis. You've got some minor fundraising for signs and, you know, some things like that, but at the moment we're really putting in our first version of the trail on a volunteer basis, so we'd love the help. You know, come out. We have really fun work days. You know, there's some kind of really intense heavy work if you're into it, or there's some really light kind of easy work. There's, you know, like Ed was saying earlier, we've had people from 3 or 4 years old all the way up to probably about like 75, 80 years old. So all different kinds of folks, and it's really it's like a fun day. So keep an eye out for the second Saturdays, and you know, the more help we get, the sooner we can open it.
All right, awesome, yeah. And one thing I would want to do is put a plug out for Musa. They've actually done a really great job at you know, adding you know, a lot of recognition and getting some people down there too. So, and forgive me because I don't know their technical name, but it's a great Greek restaurant in Troy, and you know, maybe you could add a little bit more to that, John.
Musa, yeah, I think there's Musa, which is the formal restaurant, and then there's what is it called? The Hill, I think, is this fantastic
Yes.
outdoor bar
Yep.
up behind Musa. It's actually mostly Polish foods. They have a lot of.
I apologize. Polish. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's fine. They have a lot of really authentic Polish food,
Yeah.
Polish beers. They're amazing. Once the trail goes through there, you'll be able to hop right off onto the trail,
Yep.
which have a beer and lunch, and then hop right back on. So,
Yeah.
and they've been big boosters of trails throughout Troy, not only with the Narrows, but a lot of other trail systems throughout. So, totally recommend. I've been eating at them for like 10 years, and they're fantastic.
It's phenomenal food. Phenomenal. Yeah. So
easy to plug. Easy to.
All right. So if you guys want to hold on for just a couple seconds, I'm going to end the broadcast, and I appreciate everyone, kind of jumping in and viewing, and let us know what you think about the trail system. If you can jump in and check it out, but otherwise, at least check out some of the links you see below, and check us out on Facebook.
Okay.